It's amazing how many leaders are falling right now, not because of sin, but because of an inability to tell the truth. All transformation starts with telling the truth, first of all to yourself, then to God, and then seeing what God does with that. You should try telling God the truth. You'd be amazed at what he says to you. Perhaps one of the hardest lessons that the Lord will have to teach us is that you can wrest your way into destiny. Rest is a form of warfare. It's amazing how many leaders are falling right now, not because of sin, but because of an inability to tell the truth. The reason I say it's not because of sin is because sin has never disqualified a human. Ever. That is not your disqualification. It is the inability to acknowledge where you have missed it that disqualifies great leaders. And it creates distortions and blind spots. Think about Saul and David. I was interviewing one of my mentors. His name was Dale Mast. And he said something crazy. He said, "Did you know that Saul, the king, was more prophetic than David, the king?" Saul was so prophetic that he started prophesying and said, "Are you amongst the prophets of God?" They didn't even know he wasn't a prophet. It took David a long time to work up that gift for him. But Saul had an inability to acknowledge what God was asking him to do. And he claimed obedience when there was disobedience. This is the root behind why leaders are disqualified. When God said, "Here's your instructions," he did 99% of it, and then he went off gloating about how he obeyed God. He didn't, it's not, the sin didn't disqualify him, lying did. So I'm taking us a little bit deeper, if that's okay with you, so that we can learn how to tell true stories about ourselves and to ourselves. Because all transformation starts with telling the truth, first of all to yourself, then to God, and then seeing what God does with that. I've gotten a lot of silence from God when I have asked him things without talking to him about what's really the truth of my heart. In fact, how many of you work really, really hard? So somebody's just keeping track of our detours. Let's take another detour. The first real conversation that I had with God started because I told him the truth about something. And then I tried to get God to respond to me for a year and a half. But it was one of those things where I was like not acknowledging the real deal. Do you know what I'm saying? And so he was silent for a year and a half. And then I told him the truth again, and he talked back to me. And I think that I'm gonna speak some truth over you for a second, and then we're gonna go deeper on the leadership stuff. Is that okay? Is this too weird? This is relevant because on Sunday morning I was having a conversation with God and not telling him the truth. So it's not like you just are like, well, I never lie now. I don't mean lying in terms of, I mean errors of omission with God. That's what I mean. Because when you tell God part of the story, it's not like he's a human who is unaware of the other part of the story. We have a problem because God's like, actually, I see your heart and your mind, so you're lying because you're omitting pieces. So I'm on the treadmill. This is probably relevant for you. So I'm going to tell you this story so that you can stop working so hard. I'm actually running outside, and I'm sort of not having fun. I'm not necessarily a runner, and I'm late. I'm supposed to be at church, and I'm on some road trying to get home so that I can get to church. So, you're late. You don't have enough time to figure it out. And I hear the voice of the Holy Spirit in my head, and it says, "Why are you working so hard?" And I know what God's voice sounds like because I'm obsessed with God's voice. I don't know what God's voice is like necessarily because I read it in a book. We become aware of the things that we are most obsessed with. And so whenever I hear God's voice, I can feel it. I know that this is God's voice. But I'm annoyed immediately because it's not a good time. It's an inopportune moment. And I've had, if you look at last week, I had plenty of moments where I was in my proper place, on time, and God said nothing. And I'm annoyed because he decided to show up here. I can't breathe. I'm late. And it's not in a convenient environment for me. So I'm just going to keep running. I don't want to talk about, I don't know what you're talking about. And he said, Taylor, why are you working so hard? And I said, what do you mean? And I heard nothing. And as soon as I responded, I knew why he didn't respond, because I knew what he meant, and he knew that I knew what he meant. And so I was like, I'm not going to get out of this. So I just said, I'm working hard because I feel like I have to. And this is a conversation happening in my mind. Have you ever had these with the Lord? Have you ever felt the moment when your mind stops speaking and your heart stops speaking? Be honest if you haven't, because it's a good training opportunity for you. They are not the same. So I have my thoughts, and then I have like this, I can't control what's coming out of here, but I can't control what's coming out of here. And so I said, because I feel like I have to. But it was an omission. The truth is, I'm working so hard because God forced me to work this hard. That's the truth that I had. And so I just said, because I feel like I have to, but my heart filled in the rest of the story. And it said, because you asked me to. Did you not ask us to do this? Did you not require me to do this? My heart wasn't frustrated, but it was a little confused. Like, why are you asking me why you told me to build this. Why are you asking me why I'm building it? Not mad, but just a little bit kind of like, I don't understand this. And how many of you, again, by show of hands, have young children, like under the age of 10? You know what happens when they get like overtired? Everything's a crisis. Yeah, everything is an existential life or death. And so fatigue is also with me. I'm tired. I have been working too hard, but I'm doing it because God told me to. And I'm a little bit just now like, this is a crisis conversation, because I've asked you to show up every day last week, and you decide to show up when I'm at the end of my run, and you're asking me a stupid question that it doesn't make any sense, and I'm a little bit confused by this. Anybody gone through this with God before? You should try it. You should try telling God the truth. You'd be amazed at what he says to you. He's never struck me dead for telling him that I'm unhappy. I've been intensely corrected by the Holy Spirit, and I have always walked away grateful for the correction. He's never been like, you don't think that I'm trustworthy? You're dead. It's never happened. And so he showed me this picture, and it was a vision. And I saw this small little bird that was flapping its little heart out. There were 3 tiers of air currents. I could see them, different colors. Current here, and current here. And this bird was trying so hard to get into this current, and it just couldn't get into the current. And it was exhausting itself and flapping really, really hard. And the harder it would flap, the more insane this bird started to get. And I could feel that this bird was like losing its sanity. And it was hard to watch, to be honest. I was like, this is like animal torture or something. And I looked away in the vision, and I looked back, and the bird had grown into something massive. In a moment, it looked like an eagle. And I looked at it, and the bird looked at me, and it was like, I think it just realized that it's an eagle. And it just looked up, one flap bumped into the middle current. And I was like, that's cool, good. He made it. The Holy Spirit said, no, watch. And so I watched. And have you ever seen something online where you start to feel deeply unsettled? You're not exactly sure why. Something's wrong with it. Or you've been on the way to the airport and you're like, I'm pretty sure I forgot something. And you're like finding, where's my passport? I got my passport. What's going on? Did I leave the water on? You're unsettled in your soul. You're like, And so I started to feel this way about this eagle. And I was like, what's the problem with this eagle? And then I was like, I found it. This eagle was flapping with the same intensity that the bird was. Have you ever seen an eagle fly? Yeah. They don't flap. They glide. They flap to get up into the air, and then and so it hit me, and it was still flapping just as hard, just as fast. It was frustrated, and it was just expending all of its energy. And I said, so why is it doing that? Holy Spirit, why is it doing that? I can see the current. I know that I sensed intuitively that it could just glide up until the next current. That's how eagles fly. So why is it doing that? And the Holy Spirit said, that's you. Why are you working so hard? And I didn't know what to say, so I just kept running. And it was probably like 3 or 4 minutes of just me running, and I'm like, shots fired. I don't have an answer. What do I say? I'm thinking through, what excuse can I give to justify? Because I truly feel in my heart that I have to. I don't know another way. The last time I scaled something, this is how I did it. So I don't know, but I know that I'm not going to be able to figure it out in time to get the Holy Spirit off my back about it. And the Lord said, you're in the right current. Why are you flapping so hard? And I sort of laughed because that's a funny thing to say. Like, why are you flapping so hard? This kind of sounds weird. And he said, Taylor, you're used to having to expend yourself and exhaust yourself to get where you think you need to go. But I'm actually providing the downward pressure for you to glide into the next level. You have to learn to ride the current. Stop trying to get out of this current. You can't change the current from outside the current. What do you say to that? Nothing. So I just kept running. And he said, when are you going to learn to ride the current instead of fighting the current? What do you say to that? Nothing. You just start feeling like an idiot. That's all you do. Is you start. It's not shame. It's just like, well, I'm not smart enough to have this. You hit that moment where you're like, I'm talking with God. I'm going to be quiet. And the Holy Spirit, a couple of minutes later, he said, hey, Taylor. Yeah. Could you please stop exhausting yourself? I will take you where you need to go. But can you ride the current with me? I'm controlling the wind. What do you say to that? Sure. And I got back to the house. My wife will attest to this. I didn't even show up to church because I'm so late at this point. I have to figure out what he wants me to do. And I realized that I have lived so long in survival mode that the contrast between what I used to have to do versus what's required of me now, I feel like something's wrong. Something's off. And that's why I'm like, no, I have to keep going. But I actually don't. And you'd be amazed. Like, Dane, how long have we worked together?
Probably 7, 8 years now.
Bro, have you ever seen numbers like what we are seeing right now? And we've had 5,000 clients. Have you ever seen numbers from them? We don't know why exactly. But I feel like we're missing something. Why? Because I'm still sort of in survival mode, but the season has changed. I'm no longer this size and this version. I'm a new version. And so the Lord's having to teach me how to stop expending my life. Because he said, what you had to do back then, you're not going to have to do in the future. And he said one more thing, and I'll give you this, and then we'll move on. He said, the currents you're allowed to live in are changing. You no longer need to carve out your insecurity. You're allowed to adjust. And this is what got me. He said, the calculus that governs the energy required for you to climb is changing. The calculus that governs the energy required for you to climb is changing. But I saw myself enforcing the old calculus. And sometimes I think like a room full of this, a room full of leaders, especially leaders that are working your hearts out and just running and gunning. Perhaps one of the hardest lessons that the Lord will have to teach us is that you can rest your way into destiny. And rest is a form of warfare. So the enemy can match you in effort. He can't match you in peace.